Welcome back to Game On Now. As we promised you at the top of the show, footballing royalty joining us here on Game On this Saturday with Pitso Mosimane, Coach Pitso Mosimane, joining us in the studio. Thank you so much for your time, Coach Pitso. And I have to ask you, in getting straight into it, over the last few years, you've spent so much time as a well-traveled man, a traveling man in the way of football. What have you learned in your travels and your successes abroad?
Yeah, thanks. It's good to see you also as a person. And thanks for the invite on Game On.
It's only a pleasure.
Yeah, humbled. What's your question?
What have you learned in your travels and your successes? And if there are any failures, maybe highlight those as well, where you feel you could have done better, in your time abroad especially.
Yeah, well, you know how life is. Life is never the same. You can never be saying everything is going up like this. It's always, it's a graph, man.
Yeah.
And it's a normal graph, to be honest. Because I don't know anybody who's just having his life going up like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if he has, he must share the formula with us. Yeah, there have been a lot of good things happening. There's been a lot of adventure happening. And in football, we don't like to say failures. We say lessons. Lessons learned. Yeah, there's been a lot of things. There's been a lot of travel. And I think the main thing is the safari, the adventure, navigating, just coming out of the borders of South Africa in football. And for me, it was moving out of the comfort zone because I felt that it was good at Mamelodi Sundowns, but once you win the treble, and there was another treble also with the Champions League, Telkom Cup and the league, so 2 trebles, and 5 premiership titles, 5 times coach of the season, and few Nedbanks and Telkom Cups, and I said, no, but come on. You can never be sitting around here. Can you find something that is going to challenge you and navigate? And the main thing was always for me, I said, why is the North African space dominating African football? North African teams are dominating African football.
They have been for a while.
Still today. So I said, I had this thing, the itch to say, I want to know.
Do you know that answer today?
Yeah, I know now. Why is Tunisia a powerhouse? You find Esperance there.
Yeah.
You find Tunis all the time in the World Cup. Why is Raja Casablanca, Wydad, Fus Rabat, why are those teams dominant in CAF? In Morocco, national team, you find them in the semi-finals of the World Cup.
True.
Why is Egypt a powerhouse of African football? Nobody can put the Champions League titles like Al Ahly on the table. I think they've won the league maybe 43 times, 44 times. And why has Egyptian national team been a powerhouse also? They've dominated CAF. If you have to say AFCON titles, who has won them on? It's Egyptians. Who won the Africa Champions League a lot is Egyptians and Morocco's and Algeria and Tunisia. Who has won the Confederation Cup? It's yesterday, today, last year.
And possibly tomorrow.
Yes, so I said to myself, no, I need to see what's happening there, and I think that's the place to test yourself, move out of your comfort zone. Then I moved out. That's when I went to Egypt, and Yes, I think it's the same story like maybe Rulani now. Everybody says, what happened? Why? You know? But yeah, I had to move just to move out of my comfort zone.
And now, many South Africans have wondered over the years, maybe since your generation, when so many of you were playing abroad, why that's not happening to the current generation. But also, whilst they are moving abroad or trying to move abroad, is the northern option, what's happened with Pesitao, going out to go play in Egypt. Should our players also be thinking North Africa to improve, rather than maybe trying to get just to Europe in trying to expand and learn about the game of football?
There's a good...
And why aren't we moving players?
It's a good thing and happening here, and also can be our challenge of moving. If you take, for example, you go to Zimbabwe, you find Nakamba not even playing in the Premier League, but not even playing in South Africa, but you find him in Aston Villa. Why? How you find Fashion Sakala in Saudi League, and he's bossing the Saudi League. He's playing as a right winger. To be honest, for me, in my opinion, he's contributing more than Riyad Mahrez in the same position. No, it's true. How you find Patson Daka, you find him at Leicester City. You never found him here. How? What makes that? And what makes the West Africans, especially Nigerians, why you find them in Europe? So one of the things that contributes for them to go to Europe is their local leagues are not as strong as South African league. So they take a chance to go. Wherever they find, they go. Here, South African league, our players the league is better, stronger, financially okay. So why should I move when I have a Golf GTI, I can have a house, whether you rent or you buy, and I'm comfortable.
Maybe even look after the family as well.
Yes, why should I move? But here is good short term. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
How much you earn here.
Yes.
And when those ones move and make it there,
Long term.
we're talking $1 million.
Yes.
So then that's the difference, you know? So the good part of the league makes us not to move. And also the clubs here, they don't sell cheap. The clubs, I mean, nobody sells to Europe. Who sells to Europe? Nobody. I mean, maybe you can remind me, because I haven't been around for the last 3.5 years, but nobody's selling. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So some of our players who are playing in our clubs, playing in the Champions League, who are playing for Bafana, I mean, look at how Bafana under Hugo Bruce has changed. They've become so better. That team went to the semi-finals. They played against the Nigeria's biggest team. Look at the lineup of Nigerian national team players. They play for Milan, Napoli, Villarreal, I just mentioned them. But you can see that we have the same quality, or maybe a little bit less, but then our players should be playing for Red Bull Salzburg, Dortmund, Cologne, Schalke, but we're still not there.
Yeah.
So that's the challenge we have. Is a little bit of a warm weather here, and outside is cold weather.
Yeah.
So that's me. I said, I don't want to stay longer on the warm weather.
Try some of that cold weather.
Not try the cold weather.
You made a good point about clubs also not selling cheap, which is something I don't think people consider much when they consider South African players moving abroad. But I have to ask you, you mentioned Bafana. Someone wonder, what is Coach Pitso focusing on now in his time down in South Africa? And also, in your future, would you ever get back to the international game as a coach? And would you ever consider Bafana again?
I would. I'm at a point in my career where I coach anywhere, as long as it's proper, it's right, the project is good. I don't have emotions of coming back. I'll coach in South Africa, any team, I will coach. Bafana, I can come back later. I think we should also accept and be honest that you should not disturb it now with coach.
Yes, of course.
He's doing exceptionally well.
Yes.
We should let them.
I mean that question respectfully where he's concerned.
No. We should accept and respect.
Yeah.
Yes, I would come for Bafana. And currently I'm unemployed. I don't have a team. Yes, I can have a team, to be honest, tomorrow if I want, because there are a lot of proposals. But it must suit me at my career now. I hope you understand. I can't just go anywhere because somebody else says, please come. Or I can't go anywhere somebody says, yes, we can agree financially, but then I go to a place where I won't win. If it's Africa, I have no chance to win Champions League.
Yes.
I have no chance to win the league.
Yes.
If I go to a certain team like that, it must be a project that we want you to come and build this team to this level. Then it's okay. But if I go to a team that has no chance to win Champions League, and then you're saying to me, I need you to win the Champions League because we can afford to pay your salary. No, I don't need that. I'm in a point of my career, I choose what's right, not I have to do this because I have to pay the bills.
Yeah. Now, I have to ask you, when you look at your career and the trajectory of your career from your SuperSport days, starting to go into the continent then with SuperSport and doing well in cup competitions to the national team, learning what you did then for 2010 and beyond, and then Sundowns and where you are today, your growth and your trajectory, how would you break it down when you look back at all that time? Would you say you're somewhat fortunate with the journey you've had?
Yeah, well, it has been tough. Yeah. People think was easy. No, it was tough. When I came to SuperSport United, let's be honest, we all know where we were on the lock. I remember when I was just coming, in fact, when I was given the job, the team was lying, I think, 16th on the log or 17th because we had the 18
team log, yeah.
Yeah, and then we played against, I think we played against many Rangers that gave us 6-0, and we played somebody gave us 5-0. So now I've been given that team. You got to understand. But why I take that? Because I said to myself, how low can it go? Yeah. It can never go lower than this. So I can just take it up, you know. And we finished second. I got the job in December, just imagine. And in May, we were second. So I don't know what happened. I was asking myself, what happened? We just kept winning. And then I was very, very, to be honest, afraid for the second season because what did you do? Can you do it again? So I just said, okay, let me do what I have done for half a season, keep doing that and let me see how it's going. And then we finished second again. So I said, okay, it means there's something right that we're doing. So I started to focus on exactly what I was doing. And I don't think we finished below 4. So we even went to the Champions League with SuperSport United. People don't forget, we're in the group stages. And some teams are still struggling to go to the group stages. That time we were in the group stages. I remember we had Esperance, we had USMA in Algeria, we had a team called Jeanne d'Arc in Senegal.
It wasn't fashionable then.
No.
As well, from a South African point of view.
Yes, and we were scared.
Playing in the Champions.
Because you come to Tunis, you know, the stadium of Esperance is full. USMA, full. With Algerians, you know. So, but anyway, that's how we learned. In fact, Themba Mnguni I just saw him at the youth tournament, and we were talking about that experience, you know. So anyway, so that's how it went, and then I had to go to Bafana because the World Cup was here, and it was a group of Brazilian coaches, and there was never a South African coach. So the government said, we have to have one South African on there. Somebody has to learn about this. So I became an assistant, a second assistant, not first, second assistant. At the same time, SAFA has done well for me, but because we had our conflict, it looks like they never helped. They really helped me. Then they took me to Germany for about 6 weeks to learn coaching properly and do that. But I always had things to do with Feyenoord and Holland. So basically, I was in South Africa, but not in South Africa. I was spending my time. I spent about 6-7 months in Holland learning how to coach. People don't know that. So I didn't coach because I was a football player or because I played for Bafana. No, I went to learn a lot, and I did my badges with SAFA, and I was also improving my education in football, in sports, with even institutions here. I mean, I went to Boston, I went to UJ, that time was Rao, I did sports science, and I didn't finish to do the things. Thanks God, we are meeting on the 24th.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So I've done about 8 years studying football. I'm not saying coaching, studying.
Studying, yes.
Yes, I got my CAF Pro license from Morocco. So there's a lot of reading that has happened in my development. So when I arrive at certain places, so I think you can run this interview in Morocco in the same space if they give you the English language. So it's the same with me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that has been my thing. But lastly, now on my plate now is my soccer schools.
I have to ask you about that. It's
Yeah.
your way of giving back and your ambitions towards that and contributing towards the South African game.
Yeah, I asked myself, what do I want to be remembered as after coaching? Because you cannot coach for the rest of your life. So what do I want to be remembered of? Do I want to be remembered of titles I've won or what? I said, I need to help my country. And I said, I want to have my legacy, and my legacy must be to creating a player of tomorrow. What is a player of tomorrow? You must remember, I've coached Pinar, I've coached Benny, I've coached Zuma, I've coached Nomvete,
Legends.
I've coached Bongani Kumalo and them, and those guys went to play in Europe. I've coached Pesitao, and I've seen the strengths and I've seen the weaknesses on their game. So then I know what they had, what they didn't have. And also I've compared myself when I was playing in Europe also. What is it that I had, I could not deliver also. So I have everything that I know. And I've traveled the world. I've been to the North Africa to coach the biggest team in the Middle East. Not even the biggest team in Africa, in the Middle East. Al Ahly is the biggest. It's an institution.
Yes.
So I went over there and we did our work, thanks God. We left the jersey at a better place. So then I start to say, who is Abutrika? How does Abutrika play? While Goma, Jeddo, Shikabala, those are the legends. What do they have and what is it that they did not have? What do they have in Tunis? So now I have an idea of what the North Africa is doing, and I have an idea now of the Gulf. I've coached in UAE, I've coached in Saudi, which is the biggest place for football now, challenging Europe, going to Man United, take Ronaldo, going to Bayern, take Sadio Mane, going to Manchester City, take Riyad Mahrez, go to Liverpool, take Firmino. I mean, this is huge. Go to Chelsea, take N'Golo Kante, take to Atletico Madrid, they take Carrasco. We can go on with the names. And I said to myself, let me test myself also in that space. It's always good to be home, but I want to play against those guys.
Yeah.
I want to play against Mendy, a team that I've built, and then, in 8 months' time, it became a biggest team with Mendy from Chelsea, the Senegalese, Riyad Mahrez, Firmino, play against Benzema. I mean, what else do I want in my life? I've been blessed to do that because I didn't have a chance to do that in Europe. So I have to do it in the Middle East, in another space. So I'm happy I see the Euros now, they're playing, and everybody says, yeah, Saudi League, no, they're playing in the Euros. Angola Kante is still bossing the midfield. So I said I want to be remembered as what? As a guy who has created a legacy to help my fellow South Africans to do things that I never did, to do things that Benny did not do when he was here, that Pinar was struggling with. So then I went overseas again to study, to learn youth football. It humbles me like crazy because I'm used to coach senior football. I never coached under sevens. So now I'm learning how to coach an under seven. So I want to know, what is Europe doing to coach an under seven? Because we don't have under sevens. If you look at my program that I've started, really, I have less numbers in under sevens, but you need to start there. But when they're there, how do you coach an under seven? If I give you a question, it's very difficult. You'll never answer. So I did not know because I know senior football. So this is what I learned, putting the information together, put the coaches. We have 50 coaches now in the program. They need to learn age-appropriate football training. You can't coach the under sevens on a space like this. This space is a little bit big, and you can't put them 7 inside. So it's also 2v2s, maximum 3v3s on a 40 by 40 square meters. And what do you train? So you see how difficult it is. Now I'm pricking your mind. That is how difficult it is. So this is what I'm learning now. Yeah. So we are in the schools, Kuro schools. I have coaches in the Kuro schools, and I've created clubs now. We have a club in Mamelodi, we have a club in Boksburg, we have a club in Midrand, and we have a club in Rodiport. So that's what I'm doing now.
So now we know what Coach Pitso Mosimane is currently busy with, and that's trying to better the South African game. And can you believe he is still growing in his development as a scholar of the game, I think is safe to call him. Coach Pitso, thank you so much for your time, your contribution as a player, as a South African international, as a coach with the national team at the World Cup, one of the coaches at the World Cup, and what you've done in just developing the South African game and keeping us talking about the beautifully South African game going forward.
Yeah, we need more players in Europe, in the Middle East. Yep. We need to move our players, and there's a lot of experience and also a lot of wealth for our players, because if they retire in PSL, they don't get much.
Yeah. Thanks. Wise words from Pitso Mosimane. Thanks for your time, Coach.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Sure.